Alright guys, Pop-Up 101 here. Today I'm going to be showing you the hopefully finished versions of a commission that I was paid to work on. Now it's 3 parts. It is this sword right here, this gauntlet, and a gun that I'm about to make. The only thing I need to do right now really is just fix up the gauntlet a little bit, because I have this code right here that I need to actually connect to the gauntlet. So when you pull the trigger, it will force you in whatever direction you go in. So it's really cool. All I need to do is thrust. Now add force, so it's going forward to it. So what I'm going to need to do is name this thrust. So when you connect a custom reference like that, change the size to 1 or go up with however many you want. I'm just going to name it thrust, because if you'll notice, it is, let's delete these, it's named in quotation marks, meaning it's a string. It needs to be named exactly what's in between the quotation for it to work. So in this case, thrust, it's actually with the capitalized T. Did not realize that. So there you go, capitalized T. And what we're going to do is, now I'm not entirely sure this will work, but I don't see why not. Name this thrust, and we want to go in the direction of the blue arrow. So we'll set it to -90. And what we're going to be doing is putting it in the middle of the weapon. Let's just check on YouTube. Okay. Now, pull it over. And that looks to be in the middle of our gauntlet, which is exactly what we want. So let's go to King of Greed. And now we just drag in our thrust. That should be good. Now one other thing, if we look at the script right here, we have an effect instance. So, now we have these 3 public variables, which I will show you to actually put them into your item module. So if it's named effect ID, what we can do, something really cool, is after we actually move with our gauntlet, every time we pull the trigger, what we're going to do is shoot out some particles. So let's go to, should we shoot out particles or audio? We could do both. In this instance, let's just do some audio. So, now let's just go look around for some thrust sounds like this. That's terrible. That is perfect. And I'm guessing we'd have to pay for it. So let's see what we can do to get around this, because we are cheap. So hold on. And starting now. Now let's turn our recording off while we keep streaming. Let's make sure the stream is still going to you guys. Okay, now I've never actually tried this, but I don't see why it wouldn't work. So what we're going to do is go into our folder and go to our streaming assets, videos, OBS recorded, because we are cheap. And starting now. What we're going to do is just be taking that clip right there. Okay. That should be it. So let's save a copy of it. Now, normally I would not advise to do this, but it's a mod, and I really don't think it's that big of a deal. Are we good? Good. Save it to a wave. Now we can go in and drag this to our commission video. There we go. To our King of Greed. And now, do we have any questions? Doesn't look to be that way. What's up, Mr. Panda and Chicken? Thank you very much. So now what we can do is, so we added our thrust, so we'll go towards the blue arrow. Now I believe, actually we can set that to be a fly ref too. I don't think it matters too much, because when we actually throw the gauntlet, we can have it go towards wherever we throw it. What we can do is, we can add the audio effect. So, Shibuki. Let's duplicate this. Now if we drag our duplicated into our King of Greed, this is showing you how to make an audio container. So right now we want to name this, I don't know, Gauntlet SFX. So if we name that the SFX, let's just name it Gauntlet Thrust. So every time you pull the trigger, it will make this sound. There you go. Which is exactly what we want. Now, it's actually really easy from there. All you want to do is just drag it to here, the audio container that is, and we will name it PyPop101.Gauntlet Thrust SFX. So now every time you pull the trigger, it will actually work. And because in the script right here, it is an effect JSON connected right here. We are going to be, well, we'll need to make our own effect JSON for it. So I'll show you guys how to do that properly for a sound effect in a bit. But for now, I believe we've done everything we need. Let's just check up the script. Public effect ID, we already have that. The effect of it, so this is basically just saying when you pull the trigger, it will cause you to go towards wherever you are aiming with the gauntlet. Never actually tried the script before, but I don't see why it wouldn't work. We have our effect ID, which is only going to be containing the King of Greed Gauntlet's sound. So yeah, I mean, that sounds about right to me. There's nothing connecting it to a custom reference. Yep, it's a gauntlet that's a commission thumper. So when you pull it, it will make you go in the direction of wherever this gauntlet is pointed because of this blue arrow in the thrust that's connected by a custom reference, which is actually pretty cool. Not entirely certain it will work, but I also don't see why it wouldn't. So, oh, did I set it to? Knowing myself, yeah. Let's add a whoosh component to it. I guess I forgot to do that last time. Real easy, you just type in whoosh, you add in a whoosh component, and what we're going to be doing is just dragging it onto the whoosh point. So when you move it, your weapon, you'll hear the whoosh. Okay, that was pretty easy actually. So now I'm going to be deleting the right one. Everything is set at 0, 0, 0, which is exactly what we want. The inertia tensor collider is surrounding our weapon. Let's make this a little bit smaller so it's covering the weapon a little better. There you go. And this is automatically made for any weapon in the game. But no. Just the one power. By pulling the trigger, you go in the direction of it. But I'm also making it so if you push the spell button after it's imbued with fire, it will shoot fireballs, which I think that's actually really cool. I haven't seen any gauntlets that do that. But yeah, we're done with this one, so just drag it in. Now one cool thing I can show you guys is if we rename it to right. Just by being in Unity, you can change the model itself. You can rotate it to be for the other hand. So you can basically you can take the inverse of the model. So all you gotta do is set everything to negative. You know, that's really it, guys. So I just made the inverse of the model. Now if you notice, everything is off-centered. So what I'm going to do real quick, take the model. And you notice that this was the center, this line right there. By doing that, let me actually just check and make sure that the position didn't change. If it did, makes our life a little bit easier. No, it didn't. So what we're going to be doing is just putting it right in the smack center. And this should work just fine with the handle and everything being in the same spot. There you go. We have our thrust. Everything is still connected. So I believe that's it for this weapon too, guys. Notice that the thrust isn't centered for this. So let's put the thrust there. The fireball transform. That looks good to me. Okay. Drag it in. There you go. Now, I believe this is done, so what we're going to do is name it. I have no idea what we're going to name it. As long as we make sure to check that off. King Greed. Let me just simplify this one. So this is the left. This one, King Greed, right. Copy it. King Greed, left. Alright, now the books correspond. It's exactly how we want it to be. Dot icon, dot icon. Okay, so this weapon is done now. And Okay. Any questions? Hey, Professional Lou, everything's going well. What's up, Gibran Zod? Not sure if I said that right, but I'm trying over here. Now, the final weapon is this gun. So let's take a peek at it. Now, I gotta tell you guys, I just put this model in here. Looks pretty cool to me. So let's see if we can take a gun that I've done in the past to make our life a little bit easier. Let's do the arrow gun. Actually, that's a lie. Let's do my Glock, because my Glock has my gun's framework, which will make this a whole lot easier. Unpack it. Unpack it. Glock is facing that way. Let's make this gun face this way too. Set that to -90. And of course, my Glock is not centered properly because when I first made it, I wasn't smart enough to actually do that. So, what we're going to be doing is, let's just go back to the Gauntlet. Make sure that I've actually turned on the read and write enabled, so that you can have the mission. Okay. Now what we're going to do is make our material. Okay, add in a material real quick. Let's shrink this up so that it is somewhat close to the proper size that it should be. And what we're going to be doing right now is just moving the Glock over. Let's line up the handle. Now, do not get me wrong, this is extremely annoying and difficult to do. So what I'd suggest in the future is putting everything exactly at 0, 0, 0. Now, if you do notice, something interesting about this model is this blade, the head of the gun part right here, it's a bit transparent. It does that sometimes, especially if you do not have a material on it. So when you put the material, set it to both, notice how it got filled in a bit more. Now if I show you again, let's go back to the material, let's turn it off. That's what it looks like now that it's filled in. And if you want to see that again with the material on itself, this is what it looks like. You know, you can, that's very see-through, which we do not like. Set it to both, and voila, it covers the whole model again, which is exactly what we want. Now, no problem, Lebanese Chewbacca. That's the whole point of it. Help the community a lot more, help everybody learn. And it's also nice when there's actually people watching these streams too and talking to me, because it makes it more fun. Okay. So what we're going to be doing, let's make this a bit more metallic, so let's point it at 6.5. A little bit darker. I don't see why not. For this, let's leave read and write enabled off, because we don't want there to be an omission on this. Good part about the Glock is that it already has all the components that we need. So what we're going to be doing is just dragging in our model. Bada bing, bada boom. Easy, easy. Stick the handle in the back. We are going to be making our colliders. With this weapon, it's going to be super duper easy. I'm going to show you some lovely tricks to it. Box collider. Does not need to be perfect, but it needs to be good enough to get the job done. Now let's shrink this part right here. Duplicate it. The one thing I will make sure to tell you guys is when you're making a model, just try to cover at least the basic portions of it. Don't forget that when you are making a model, nobody's going to be feeling their fingers all throughout the model to see if you put on the colliders correctly, which that's something that it took me a little while to learn. More like a long while. Because I used to spend so long, especially when I first started making mods, just working very hard on the colliders. But this right here, the back isn't perfect, but it covers what it needs to. So that's really nice. Now if we do this collider right here, let's just take this one because it's already 90 degrees. Look at that, perfect. Glad I zoomed in because notice this handle right here is a lot skinnier than the rest. Centered a little, perfect. That's all we needed to do. Now the rest of it, let's take this again. Now I will say it does help to have a collider script to make your colliders. Makes it go a lot quicker. I'm actually doing a giveaway for my personal collider script, the one that I use, that on the app, not the App Store, on the Unity store, it costs $110. Or actually, hold on, let me check. It costs, I believe, right here, costs $180. This advanced mega pack. So everyone, for those of you that are watching this, if you endorse, so by endorse I literally just mean if you go to Nexus Mods and you just, whenever it wants to load, if you get my atomic disintegration spell, the endorsements right here, if that number reaches, well, a lot higher and it gets me to first place, I'm going to be doing a giveaway and actually giving away this pack that costs $180 for free to one lucky person. So all you got to do really is you just click on it, you download the model or the mod, and then you refresh the page, you click endorse. It's that simple. It will tell you to wait 15 minutes so that you can actually test out the mod. After that, you can actually click endorse. So if that is done and I get to first place for the endorsements for the month, then I'll be giving this away. Which, you know, it's I don't think it's a bad trade-off. I mean, I'd figure with the amount of work that I put into the spell itself that I'd reach #1 for the most endorsed of the month anyways. That is the goal. But there we go. I'd still like some more endorsements to really get it out there and show a lot of people, because I I spent a whole lot of work on that mod. I mean, literally, if you look at this right here, look at that. A bunch of different ways to turn enemies into literal ash. How cool is that? Thank you. I'm glad you guys like it. And I also did release a bug fix recently for it, because apparently that a bug that got past my testing and, well, frankly, all the other people that I had testing it. Let's set this to blade. Is that when you use the merge, no, when you grab them by the throat, if you deselect the spell, even after deselecting atomic disintegration, you still can grab them by the throat and have them turn to dust, which is a very, very big bug. Honestly, to me, it's really not that bad because I kind of like that feature, but there were several people that kept complaining on the mod itself, so I figured to give in, and I worked with Genix to fix it, and he's actually been really awesome at helping me fix up a couple of mods, including the newest spell that I just released, the Wolverine Claws mod, which is actually a competition I'm doing with Turner. So if you guys want to check mine out, check his out, just let us know who's best. Just for the fun of it too. It's a competition, but it's, for Blade and Sorcery, so everything is friendly. Let's set this to 0. Nope. Set the Y. That doesn't help all that much, does it? Okay, let's make this a bit bigger. It's kind of difficult to see, but this is when it gets a little bit annoying to do colliders, especially with something as long as this, but we are making do with what we got. So we can pull this back a bit. Duplicate it one more time, move it back, shrink it, bring it downwards, and have it grow. Now I believe we are covering everything we need to on the model now. So if we check these colliders out, we raise them up, that's it's covering enough of this head right here where I think it is good. Just in case though, let's copy it, bring it down a little, angle it up, because we want it to be perfect. I will say, guys, if you do have people commissioned to you to make a mod for them, just make it as good as you can. I know I made there was another commission that I recently made, and it took me a little while because I had to fix up some of my scripts with it, because part of it activated. But if you do it right the first time, then you won't have to keep going back. So let's name it Burb Gun. Now we have our spawn point, our VFX, and our sound effects. Now what sound does it make? I have no idea. Honestly, that sound is fine by me. I don't really know if the guy that commissioned it will care, but that's something that I can talk to them about a different time. So every time you shoot it, there, just some little particles that come out. And of course, this is using my gun script, not Fisher's, even though, it's still very similar, except mine, you cannot shoot you cannot actually shoot you cannot, what am I trying to say? You can't hold the trigger and shoot an infinite amount of bullets, and you can't add animations when you're shooting. At least not yet. I haven't added that to the script. But at some point I might end up doing that. So. But yeah, the gun is actually pretty close to being done. So that's done. The holder point, parry point, the preview. One thing I always tell you guys is try and set it between this red and green right here. Makes life a little bit easier. I can show you why exactly I say that. So you use the red to actually make it grow. Let's cover that. That should be good. Let's save it. Spawn point where the bullet actually comes out. Let's have it come out right here. Perfect. Our handle right there. What we are going to do is cheat a little bit, and let's take we are going to be taking the handle from this weapon, my Gatling gun. If you guys don't remember from one of my packs, the blade right here actually is, you can make it go back into the model or out if you press the Alt button or spell button, depending on what system you have. But what we're going to do, real simple, is spin the model around like this. So let's set it to 180 right here. we're going to be taking this bottom handle. Now the reason why I just take it is because it's already set up. It makes it a whole lot easier so I don't actually have to go into it and try to fix everything. But let's set that to 1. Orientations is at 4. Let's update to new orientations. Now all we're going to be doing is, since it's set up horizontally, not with the blue arrow down, like the handle right here, we won't be grabbing it like this. So if you notice, it's like a hand grabbing this part. So we won't be doing that. Speaking of, actually, might be a good idea if I raise this up a little, like right there. This one, it's horizontal, so you can grab it, and if we look at one of the handles, like that. And of course with any of the hand orientations. So that's already set up. Yeah, so what I need to do is actually lengthen this second handle. After we do that, we are done. And as always, if you guys have any questions, just feel free to post it in the chat right here or message me. But oh, yeah, Genix is nice, and he is really good at tech support. For map optimization, what I'd say to you, one of the biggest things is, especially, well, not just with maps, but with anything, the textures are key. The textures cause the most problems. Well, not really problems, but they take up the most amount of data. So, for example, let's show you guys to do. Let's go to my Ashburner. Let's see how much this has. So one of these textures right here, this, oh, look at this. Just this one normal is 5.3. Now if you look at this, it's using 5 different textures. So the regular ones are also, some of them are 5.3. I think that's 4 of them are 5.3, one of them is 2.7. So if you add those all up, it's more than 20 megabytes just for the textures alone, not even including the model. To fix this, so getting to your question, Lebanese Chewbacca, what you want to do, max size, 1024, crunch compress, apply. Now it was at 5.3 before, megabytes, now it's 182.8 KB. Alright, that is a humongous difference. So instead of it being at a little over 20 megabytes, now will be in total less than a megabyte for the textures. So that is something that I'd definitely say to do for all of your textures. The one thing I will tell you though is that it does, so if you do crunch compress the textures, they don't look as, well, as nice. So for example, you see how this is. Let's say we put it at 32, we crunch compress, we hit apply. Notice that it gets blurry, it gets harder to see, but the texture itself is less than it was before, the amount of that it takes up. So it went from 43.6 to 0.6 KB, which, I mean, that in itself, it's a whole lot, even though it doesn't really need to be because it's already so low. But that was just an example of showing you how drastic it can be. You're very welcome. And I will also say, well, actually, no, my biggest thing that I will tell you for map optimization is the textures. But the other thing is just delete everything that you don't necessarily need. Because I know a lot of people try to put all these fancy things into their maps and stuff, but for the most part, people don't use them. So as much as it kind of sucks to say, it's a little bit of a waste. Because for the most part, when it comes to Blade and Sorcery, people typically go for weapons and spells. They do not really, I mean, if they do go for maps, they want a highly optimized map, meaning most of the time less stuff, but less lag when they play too, which is typically just having it take up less space. Like I know, for example, my map, which is somewhere, which I'll show you in a second. Yeah, I don't need that anymore. Let me just make sure everything is connected. It is. It's like, one thing I will tell you guys real quick, when you're making your audios, just add a linker to it, so that it'll go along with the game sounds too. So if you decrease it in the game sounds, the sound of the gun will decrease too. Or the sound of it shooting out will decrease. But now if we make a quick preview, and you see why I had it go in between the red and the green right here, because I like when it's facing towards this corner right here. That's just a personal preference. You don't need to do that. It's just something I do. But what I can say to you guys is that looks like I'm done with all the mods in this commission. So let's save that. Now I believe we're done with that. So everything looks to be done, right? Now what I'm going to be doing, I'm going to show you all the JSONs, but first I'm going to be showing you my map that I need to get to fixing at some point. I have a couple different maps, but this is the main one that I've been working on, and it is right here. So it's this lovely guy right here, and when you actually play it, the rocks and everything move, so it's animated. It looks pretty cool. This whole map is, I believe, 30 something megabytes. Now it's not humongous if you just take a look at how big the books are in comparison to the rest of the map. You know, it's a decent size where you can fight enemies on top of here and knock them off. But it's cool. One thing I will also say, Lebanese Chewbacca, if you're still watching this, if you noticed with this map, you see how high quality these textures are right here for where you're going to be stepping and looking most of the time. If you notice, look at these rocks. You see how they're a lot more blurry than this right here? Well, it's the exact same textures, only that I crunch compressed these textures again, only for these, the outer rocks that are going to be moving. So if I go to maps, floater, I believe it's right here, textures. So if you notice, they're using D. So if you look at this, only using these. Now D1, D2, I just copied them from New Material 5. So I just copied the textures from this. So you just click on whatever one you want. You hit Control D and it will copy it and paste it onto here for you. All I did was copy and paste it. And for something like these that are going to be far away from the rest of the map, you're not really going to see them. They kind of just add a little bit of an effect of coolness to it. I crunch compressed it. So now instead of it being, let's see. So it is... This is the same as something else. Let's find it. Hold on. So New Material 5. Okay, so these two right here are the same. And if you look at the crunch compression, these textures, 5.3 megabytes. But this one, for the outside rocks, 3.41 kilobytes. Now that is great. It's something that you gotta finagle with a little bit. So for this, if you just do the max size, look at this. It does go up. the textures did get a little bit better. So I guess that's just based on preference, but it's just something you get to play with to see how you like it. Now I'm going to spend 15 years working on the JSONs. So let's get to that real quick. Okay, so this is all done. What we're going to be doing is building and exporting this lovely pack. You're very welcome. So while it is building, we can get started on let's see. So it's going to be coming up. And I did not save any of my guns. Shoot. Nope. Oh. I guess I had already made the JSON for his weapon. It's good on me to do, I guess. So we're going to be taking both of those. If you hit Control X or you just right click and you hit cut, all we're going to be doing is pasting it in right here. Let's take both of those. Glock, what we are going to be just taking is the Glock JSON itself. Now, I will tell you guys the most annoying part of making mods is the JSONs. If we're not talking about colliders, that is. And that's something I can't show you guys because it is not open to the public. Now, if we go and let's go take a mace. Let's take this one. And we're going to be taking an effect JSON as well, so. And it does only have sounds. Sound effects. Perfect. So for this, we're just going to copy it. Nope. We're going to copy this whole effect JSON. Paste it in. Rename it Gauntlet SFX. Check to make sure that we're naming everything properly. Gauntlet Thrust SFX. One thing you can also do is just say that you're going to rename it, copy it. There you go. Everything is named properly now. So that effect JSON is done. What we're going to be doing is, let's actually start with the gun itself. So what did we name it? Questions? No. Very nice. Let's set it to medium. And since it's a little bit bigger, let's set it to 1.3. It's using my gun script. Let's have bullets shoot out at 40. Bullets despawn in 3 seconds. It'll use the same as the Glock. a little bit of recoil. Spawn point's the same. We save it. One thing I will show you guys is you're going to need to copy this because we added in the second handle. Set this to false. And now, if you guys are making the gun, I'd recommend setting the part that's holding the trigger itself to handle cork, because it's not exactly the handle setting that you'd grab a gun with, but it looks fairly close. So I just recommend that until Fisher starts making his lovely hand poses again. So the gun is done, so that's good. The Star Sword, let's just make sure that everything is named properly. It looks to be that way. Yep. 3 handles. That seems like a bit much. Let me just check on that real quick. I guess I did add 3 handles, huh? 1, 2. Huh. Well, I guess that's what happens when you work on a commission. Yeah, it's been a while since I actually looked at these, but... So that's done. Now the last part of it is... Oh, this is going to be fun figuring out. Okay, so let's take this burp gun. I'm going to take that script real quick, put it under modules. Now let's rename everything, and then I will get to naming it for the script that I just made. But let's save this, hit Control B. It built. So, oh, this is going to be fun. Okay, so you right click, you go to your repos. What we're going to do is, since I named it launch, we're going to take it, go to debug, you drag in the DLL right here. When you guys do it, it will not look like these 3 boxes, just a heads up. Okay, so this is what it looks like. Okay, so we have our gun. Now, our, what do you call it? Our glove. Oh, that's right, we have 2 gloves, so we're just gonna need to duplicate this one after and just rename it, so. Again, as I'm sure you guys know, it's very easy to do all this. Just renaming everything. Save it, set it to purchasable. So one thing I'm going to do real quick is set everything to be in exotics. Because yes, they are regular weapons, but at the same time, especially with a commission, you want them to be in the same place so they're easy to find. Icon, King read write. It's all set. The prefab, so the model itself, right there. Let's set it to be 100. Let's let it be thrown. $140. Okay, so we only have one handle. It is a blunt. So, oh man. Let's check on this. Great, 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 great. I left everything as metal. Now, this is annoying. One thing to note, guys, now with all of your weapons and stuff, everything is not named. The material for everything is blade, if it's not a prop. So we set it to blade. Set both of these to blade. Yes, sadly, we are going to have to rebuild it. It's a bit annoying, but you know what? We're going to be sucking it up. We got to fix it on both of them. Yes, it is a bit... Oh man, hold on. Wait a minute, now that I'm thinking about it. No, okay, that's good. I was just wondering if the colliders flipped sides when I swapped the model itself. But it looks like it, because it's a mesh collider, that's what the custom collider script basically is. Just a better collider script. It didn't, and it stayed with the model itself, which is what we wanted. That's all done. Did we set this to blade? Yeah, we did. Well, at least we were smart once, right? Okay. So that's right. That's set to default. That's exactly what we want. Now, I always delete it just in case. You don't need to, but whatever. If you want it to be able to use in Vortex, make sure to just set this to be the exact same name as the folder. So this. So let's build and export. Set no. Save it. I'm working on a couple different commissions. Yes, I'm the creator of the item spawn spell. What question do you have about it? Okay, gloves are being done. Okay, so here's our lovely, lovely script right here. Now, name it is launch dot speed comma launch. Okay. Now if we go to the King Greed right, now what we're going to need to do is look at the parameters of the code itself. So, what we have right here is the force and then the effect ID. This is a string, so you're going to need quotation marks. The float is just the number. So what we can do is name it min force. Max force. And we're not going to need a barrel reference or anything, so what we're going to do is get rid of all that. We are going to need the effect ID. So if we name this effect ID like that, let's just keep these at the default for now. So 500, 1500. The effect ID that I named was Gauntlet SFX. Copy it. Now all we do is just put that in there, save it, and I believe we're all finished. I think that's it. So now you hit Control C, Control V, or just duplicate it itself. left. Left and left. Left. Ooh, I'm glad I'm taking a look at this again. So we did not name the collider group head, we named it collider blunt. Crystal staff. Save it. And of course, that's something I need to fix for both. Crystal staff if you want to do the gravity slam or shoot fireballs out of it. But shooting fireballs, you also have to set that up in Unity, so it's a little different. What would I change to make the item disappear a second or two after throwing? With the current script itself, you can't change that. So as soon as you let go of it, it will despawn. In the future, I can make it an option that you can have the weapon or whatever you're throwing disappear right away, or based on how long you want, and I can make that customizable. As of now, it is not. But I will take that into consideration for the future. Yep, no problem. Yeah, I think we're all set, guys. So what we're going to do is just test in the game right real quick. Now, I will say this is my laptop, so all I'm going to be doing is just starting it up and checking to make sure that there's no errors. If there are, we'll fix them. But I don't think there is. Or at least there shouldn't be. Whenever it decides to fix itself. Okay, let's take a peek. Burb gun. Gun script 46, 44. Okay, so there's an error with the gun. Not quite sure what it is, so let's go take a peek. Now, since I copied that, what we're going to be doing is just go to the server real quick. What we can do is just paste this. So in the gun, there's an error on line 44. So what we're going to be doing, what's up, Severos? How's everything going? Burb gun 44. Huh. That's this. Well, that's not good. Oh. Huh. Guys, you know why it's not working? Silly me. I don't have the gun in my mods folder. Oh, everything's great, you know, just making some mods over here, showing everybody how it works. No, that's not it. Still not it. Oh, man. Hold on. Let's download my Glock real quick. Because the framework of it is attached. And also, I did have somebody that was nice enough to donate premium to me, so thanks a lot. You guys have definitely been a great help in this Blade and Sorcery journey. But, alright, now we have our requirement, our Glock right there. It should work. So let's test it out. Now, I believe it will work, because I don't think I misnamed anything. Notice that the only error that we had was with the gun itself. nothing else. So, here we go. Look at this, everybody. This is just with Husky's mod, and the errors with the old Darksaber, not the updated one. But if you noticed, we no longer have any errors. So with this, how long has it been? This about an hour long YouTube stream, we finished all of our weapons that we needed to. So good on us for that. But with that, I think it's actually time for me to go get ready for dinner because I'm starting to get hungry. Look at that. Oh, we did reach just past an hour. So that's pretty cool. But we finished up our weapons. I hope you guys learned a bit. For those of you that have not already, you can go to any one of my mods. Or if you're feeling a little special, what you can do is if you end up going to my profile, my page right here, it has a link to my YouTube, my Patreon if you'd like to support the channel, my Discord server, and my Twitter to stay updated on the more important things. So, but for now, thank you guys for watching, and as always, if you have any questions, just message me. If you have any ideas for videos, you can go into my Discord server, pop them into the suggestions right here. Mod, tutorial, or code, anyone. But with that, thank you all for watching, and I will see you enough next time. Peace out.